Hello everybody and welcome back to Connor here, and we are back with your transfer update, your transfer daily update. This is where you can get the comprehensive news coming out of Leeds United on social media and on the web. So if you haven't checked out the first episode, please go check that out. It was out a couple of days ago now, and the transfer information is still relevant back then, but obviously we've updated it a little bit now. We've seen different things coming out. So the big thing that's coming out of Leeds today is obviously we listened to the YEP podcast yesterday, which came out, which I believe is sponsored by The Athletic and Phil Hayes, so they do a little bit of a collaboration there with the Square Ball lads, I believe. And we still know that Shea Adams is number one target. So Shea Adams is still the number one target. I was vying for Leeds to go for Cauley Woodrow. It seems like that. There's a lot less rumours on that now, whether or not that's because Barnsley are going to be expecting a high price in the January window, which you can sort of expect, losing their number one striker in January. The premiums of players genuinely and generally go through the roof anyway. But if you're looking at a striker who's, what is he, one goal behind Bamford, they're going to be looking for a hell of a fee. But, I thought it might be doable. It looks like Nottingham Forest and Charlton are in for another one of their starlets, which is Alex Mowat. So I thought that maybe, they would be aligned with selling Woodrow as well. They've not got a good transfer history either, selling some of the best players. So, look at Ethan Pinnock, who's gone down to Brentford for 2.5 million. So I think Leeds might have to keep an eye on that one, because I think that could be a goer, but we'll have to just wait and see on that one. But it does look like Shea Adams is still the number one target. A loan to buy is being discussed. It looks like apparently Shea Adams really wants the move. Ralph Husenhartel, the Southampton manager, is still very reluctant to let the striker leave, him being their sort of fourth striker behind Gineppo, Shane Long and Danny Ings. So that's what you've got to look at. Every Premier League team has four strikers. Are they going to be willing to let sort of Adams go without a guarantee that they're going to be bringing in a new striker? Southampton have been looking at a Le Havre striker, and apparently they're very keen on him, but who knows? We'll have to wait and see with that one. I would say caution with this one, because I wouldn't want Leeds to go through that same scenario as we did last January, where we waited for Daniel James. That whole scenario with Swansea, waiting until the last day of the season, last day of the January window, didn't really have a backup plan, and Leeds went into February without a winger, which we so desperately needed. So I think there is a factual basis that we need to just get our collection of players in within the time limit very, very quickly for me. And if we don't do that, we need to move on. We need to move on to the backup plan, which I will get to in a second. So looks like the goalkeeper as well. I think he's called Ali Capriel. We bought him in, or we're bringing him in. Apparently he's got he's got 1 foot into Leeds, according to Football Insider and Sports Witness. Very credible sources. Ali Capriel. He's a goalkeeper for Chievo, 18 years old. And it's interesting because it looks like Leeds United are going to be going down the youth route for a goalkeeper. Contrary to reports that earlier on, we're going to be going for an experienced keeper. So if Meslier wasn't able to step up to the big time, step up when Kiko was out, we would have an experienced vet to come in to be able to reassure the goalkeeper, to be able to teach him through. But after his performance the other night, it looks like Meslier is ready. He is ready to step into that famous white shirt. It also looks like, he's going to give Kiko some competition for me. I don't know who I picked this weekend. How mad is that? We're going to have the Sheffield Wednesday preview out this evening, but I do not know who I would pick. Genuinely, after Meslier's performance the other day, he gives us so much, and I'm not disputing Kiko Casilla, of course I'm not, but Meslier just looked that good. His distribution, his handling, his height from corners, very, very impressive. So it looks like with Meslier, we're looking for a loan to buy as well. So if we bring in Eli Capriel, I believe it's Ali or Eli, I'm not 100% sure. But we are going down the younger route, so there must be some serious trust in Meslier. The next option, who we found out from the YEP podcast, is that it could potentially be a winger who is out of contract. So after doing a little bit of research, I thought that the main one really would probably be Jordan Ibe. Jordan Ibe at Bournemouth. His contract does run out in the summer months. Obviously, I don't know what his wage demands are going to be. Obviously, ex-Liverpool, so I think his wages will be quite high. Bournemouth bought him for £15 million. Are his wages going to be quite high? I think he'd fit the system really well, really quick, dynamic and pragmatic. He'd be able to fit in really well, very fit as well. So I do think he'd be able to keep up that high press, that high intensity, but will he come to Leeds as sort of a Jack Clark-esque sort of a bench option. I'm not 100% sure he will. Obviously, with him being on such a high wage as well, that might have to be something we cross off the list. Next as well is going to be, I'm going to talk about Dwight Gale as well. I know a lot of you sigh when you hear that name. The only reason I'm going to mention him is because it looks like Newcastle are going to bring Lookman in from Leipzig, so that's going to free up Gale, in my personal opinion, to be open to offers. I did see from Anderson the other day from the Mirror that Newcastle are looking for £15 million. I mean, I'm not 100% sure that valuation is right. I don't think Newcastle have ever been looking for a loan. They never seem to want a loan for Gale to go out. They always want a permanent transfer. They reluctantly sent him on loan to West Bromwich Albion last time, but they want a transfer every time. He's getting on a bit. We need to be, if he's around and about, he needs to be playing football. So that could be an option, but I think that would be quite dead in the water. And the next one, obviously, as you can probably tell by the thumbnail, is Billy Sharp. Now, the reason I've highlighted Billy Sharp is because I want to know what you guys think about that one. Obviously, he's been at the club before. You could tell he was very passionate when he was at the club before. He gave his all for the shirt. It didn't really work out for him. When Morrison and Becchio, the whole saga happened with that. Billy Sharp was in that amidst with that. Really, he didn't really get that number 9 top. He didn't really get his full chance at Leeds United. He wouldn't be ahead of Bamford this time, and I'm sure he knows that. But I think he is willing to let him go if Sharp wants it. He doesn't want him to go, but if Billy Sharp wants to go, he will let him go. For everything he's done for Sheffield United, I think Sharp's best interest must be at heart. But will Sharp come to Leeds if he's just going to sit on the bench? But it does look like if we do not get Shay Adams, Billy Sharp is the second in line. So that's number 2 for me, and you could tell that on the YEP podcast when they're talking about it. It does seem like Billy Sharp is option number 2, not Woodrow. So that's very, very interesting. And it looks like as well, the third option, so it looks like Leeds have 3 options in the striking department. It's going to be an international player, someone from the continent who we've not heard of, but they have a lot of international caps, so I don't know who that could be. But that looks like it's the number 3 option. And then obviously we figured out that we are sort of interested in a midfielder as well, /winger /CAM. And there's a lot of chat about a lad from Manchester City called Ian Poveda. He's a Manchester City right winger, but he can play all along that 3 in behind the striker. I don't know whether or not it's a contingency plan for the likes of obviously Clark. Maybe they're a little bit worried about, excuse me, a little bit worried about Roberts' fitness, maybe Hernandez's fitness, so Poveda can play all along that 3 in behind the striker. He did start at Brentford, which is madness. Obviously, that Brentford's continuous production of talent is definitely being looked upon by many of the top clubs. He was then transferred to Manchester City. He is English /Colombian, and he has been capped by England under 19s and 20s. And I tell you what, guys, I've been watching a few of his clips this morning, and wow, what a player he looks like. Terrifying, absolutely terrifying. A real top level player, and it looks like Manchester City are sort of open to loaning him out. Whether or not his contract is up in the summer, I'm not 100% sure. We're not privy to that information online, really, from being such an unknown. But it looks like a really, really talented player, only 19 years old. So a lot to go at there, guys. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Who do you think will be the ideal signing for Leeds? And if we can't get that ideal signing, who do you think will be the backup signing? It looks like, unlike Dan James last window, there are noises coming out of the club that there are backup plans for if we don't get Shay Adams, which is nice to hear, because it looks like Leeds aren't going to put all their eggs in one basket, which we did last January. Make sure you look out for your Sheffield Wednesday preview, which will be out later on, guys. I will be recording that right now. So keep tuned to the channel, leave a like, comment, and make sure you subscribe. Hit that big subscribe button and that notification bell, and I'll see you in a bit.